Thank you all for joining us for the second iteration of our brand and ambassador program. Today we're going to be talking about kind of the history of the brand development process that we worked on and why it's important and what went into developing the brand we have on campus today. All right, so the purpose of the brand effort and the brand that we have now is to create a comprehensive, consistent branding universe for CSUB. The effort started between the summer of 2020 and the spring of 2021 was when the process of developing this brand happened. I began with a brand survey that was focused on identifying really who we are as a university and how we could use a brand to create a stronger, unified presence for the university out there in the market. That strong brand, applied consistency, leads to brand loyalty, and when people are loyal to the university, everyone and all of our efforts benefit. So you can see here to the right, there are a lot of different logos and brands that used to be CSUB and kind of give you a feeling for what was in existence before this brand effort began. So a little timeline. The process for doing a brand study began in 2020, summer 2020. We identified several focus groups with 80 people who helped really focus what the effort was we were trying to accomplish, and they were the core people who worked on this. I wasn't here at the time, but I've seen the product of these people's work. In fall 2020, we identified brand positioning, developed the logo concepts in the winter of 2020. The president chose 4 draft logos from the 12 that were developed by the focus groups, and in spring of 2021, the whole campus was invited to vote on what the new logo and seal should be. So this was ultimately, at the end of the process, a democratic effort to kind of have the university see how they would want it to be reflected. After that, the brand team developed a comprehensive brand style guide, and we launched the rebrand. The methodology, faculty, staff, alumni, donors, students, and athletics and board members were all involved in this brand development effort. The brand effort focused on the quality of the work we were doing with some quantitative elements. And it was really focused on how people perceived CSUB using the old brands. So the themes that came out of that study work was themes of community, diversity, student experience, the idea that CSUB is a beginning for so many people and families, our growth as a university and it's part of the larger community, and as a place that creates opportunity for everyone involved in the university. So those became the focus for our brand pillars. The quote here kind of gives you an idea of what the brand characteristics are and what brand pillars really are. To me, brand pillars are the pieces of the story of who we are. They're the stories we're trying to tell our community, the community we serve in the regional area, our students, and supporters and alumni. So those brand pillars really focus our efforts to promote the university on the goals of the brand and the story we want to tell. Do we have any questions yet? I want to stop fairly regularly to see if anybody has any thoughts, questions. Not seeing any hands raised. I'll go on. Feel free to raise your hand. And Chris, if you see someone, ping me, please. All right. So the brand pillars, we're community engaged. So that is the idea that CSUB is its own community here, a family with our students, our faculty, our staff that make up our own little community, village, city, really, here on the CSUB campus, but that we're also connected in very close connected ways to the larger community around us, our businesses, our nonprofit organizations, our government organizations, our community groups and faith groups, and the larger social network around CSUB. And that idea is important to building relationships with those groups. And so that's one of the core brand pillars of who we are. Diverse, it describes us as a diverse community, but it's also who we are striving to be, the actions we want to take to represent ourselves and those people who we serve. So diverse and diversity is a key part of the story we're trying to tell to the larger community. Unique student experience. We are a university where class sizes are a little bit smaller, where you can come in as a freshman and get involved in direct research with your faculty mentors, where you're not always buried in large classrooms with hundreds of students in them. As that was my experience as in the UC system when I was an undergraduate, and it was coming into massive rooms where I got no feedback really on my work, and I was not able to engage with the people who really need that. That experience is different here at CSUB. We have a strong groups of clubs and community organizations on campus. We have a kind of a hometown feel to our university, as the same time that we provide large university tools. We really are trying to tell that story with our brand. And again, beginnings for so many of our students, a majority of whom are first generation students. This education that is provided at this university is a beginning for so many of them, not just the students we educate, but their families who support them and benefit from their education and their economic mobility. So again, we're about beginnings, and growth. There's a ton of growth on campus. We are always looking at the next big thing we're going to build, the next organization, the next step we're going to take in educating. We have our first free textbook class series on campus. There's always something, as I look out at the university and we hear our stories, that is new and changing and growing and developing here on campus. And that is a key part, again, of what we're trying to communicate to our students, our faculty, but also to the prospective students out in the world around us, our supporters, our alumni, and our communities. So the key part of who we are. And opportunity. Again, CSUB has been ranked consistently as one of the highest social mobility campuses in the western parts of the United States, and as is many of our cousins in the CSU system. We provide this key hub for a 4-year university degree that doesn't exist anywhere, within 98 miles of us. And for public 4-year institutions, we're unique in this community. And it's such a key to helping people in our community transcend, their background and their maybe economic challenges that they faced and their families faced, and become financially successful, impactive, and leaders in our community. All right, so how do we tell those stories, and how does the brand link into those? And that is really what the brand survey was working to develop. They did that through finding fonts and logos and colors that really connected with people here in our community and who we work with. Narrow sans serif fonts like this were very popular in the surveys. The colors, the classic blue and gold of CSUB, other colors were presented, but these two colors were the ones that people connected with as the traditional colors for CSU Bakersfield. And so they were ranked highly and ultimately chosen to be our colors. Brand architecture, this is such a key idea. We all know Apple. If you see that Apple symbol anywhere, you know who made it. You associate that with the work they do and the products they produce. And it's a powerful tool for business for the Apple company. University of Oregon, everybody knows that O. In the past, our brand looked more like the PG&E pool of brands, which is a house of brands. We're all associated, but there are brands for every small little group associated with this organization. There's less unity, there's less focus. And so the goal of the effort was to create a brand that was a branded house, where when you saw the logo for any subset of the university, you connected with the larger university community and its stories. So they were built that way. And some of these logos went away. At the same time, we worked hard, Chris and I and the whole team here in Marcom, to provide opportunities for uniqueness and connection, and making sure that everybody is able to express themselves within the context of their link to CSUB. The logos, I think you're all familiar with these. These were ultimately the logos that were picked through the voting process with the 2,000 participants. And they are our logos today. Applying the brand. The study findings really guide the university's brand positioning, which influences all our communications. When you hear a message from the president's office or Marcom, or any of our subsets, it really is tied back to those brand pillars that are our story we're telling the community. We want those ideas to be linked back into the things we create on campus, to communicate: flyers, videos, photos, and banners, whatever you're working on and creating out there as part of your work in the community. We want it to link back into the brand, and ultimately through that to those brand pillars, that the ideas of growth and diversity, and opportunity that we are providing to the community. So to do that, we developed a comprehensive brand style guide, and that is available to you. Although I think it was in the uh, photo here, which doesn't seem to be showing, but the brand narrative. Oh, apparently I needed to click on it. That's why. Brand narrative, visual identity, editorial style, digital standards, photo and video best practices. All of those resources are available to you. And as you go through this brand ambassador program, you're going to be given a closer connection to those uh, resources, and you can access them yourself through csub.edu/brand. That's a key tool, and you will have to log in through with your CSU ID and password to get access to some of those resources, because we want to limit people's access to, say, official university letterhead to people who actually are writing for the university in an official capacity. But they are available to you and easy for download. So moving along. Again, that URL csub.edu/brand. That lands you on this page. Logos, colors, templates, the athletics visual identity marks, our visual identity marks for the CSUB Rise campaign, and our trademark licensing work. So please check out, if you haven't already, check out that website, really get a sense of what's available to you. And if you're looking for something that you don't find there and you want, brand at csub.edu, email us, we'll get it to you. All right, we're moving on. Ultimately, this series of efforts is designed to help you communicate within the brand the information and stories you need to the people who are your audiences for your divisions. And so that's why we have the beautiful branding contest, where we ask you to share with us what you've been doing so that we can kind of cheer on everybody's work, and provide some kudos to folks who do things. Before I go and announce the winner, as we move through the rest of your presentation, I want you to ask you to, if you have received the backpack for the brand ambassador's backpack and its resources, please text that in the chat to say, I have received the backpack. If you haven't, please put in the chat, I haven't received the backpack, so that we can track who's got them and make sure everybody gets access to the backpack and resources we've got available. All right, thanks for starting to do this. Now, with no further ado, we will announce the winner of the brand, the branding contest this month. And we'll see if this works. I don't think it is. Pardon me. It worked in the preview. Hold on for a moment. Let me switch screens that I'm sharing. And all right. All right, I'm seeing a little bit early, but here you go. Hold on a moment. I want to make sure you hear it. And here we go. Gabriel Villanueva produced this video with some great branding tools in it.
Look at my eyes, let me tell the use of the road. That's my soul. Look to me the size whenever the smoke clear out of my face and my picture burning. You look fine. All of that green, yellow, that drop your eyes is filling. Tell you the rise, I went to my side to push back the ceiling and push back the feelings I had to my side. I replay the banks so right on my side. I want to see is the stadium. People that round me, if it just move, but Scotty with beats, we do understand. Just say I'm a child. Things that created began. Just right that I got to find balance and keep it. Yeah.
All right. What I love about that, and I'll stop sharing. What I love about that is, as you see early in the video, there's a run through, there's a fast visual element which shares the CSUB athletics branding. And what I love about it is it shows the amount of creativity that you can employ in your work while still connecting to the CSUB brand. You don't have to sacrifice creativity to really be able to uh, to use the brand and make sure we're connecting with those stories. So I appreciate everyone who submitted some submissions. As they were great submissions, all of them. I really connected with this one for the aforementioned creativity with brand usage.
And I don't see Gabrielle on the call, unfortunately. So I wish she was, so we could give her a formal shout out, but we'll have to reach out to her separately, but very good work.
So let me share my screen again here, just a moment, so we can finish up the. All right. So thanks to that, we're gonna go on to the next slide. There is a reward for each month's chosen brand ambassador. And so there is a $25 gift card, dining dollar card. So we will be happy to treat you to some on-campus vittles in honor of the work that we're all doing to expand the brand. So I appreciate that. And so we will get in contact with Gabrielle and go from there. And that is this presentation so far this month. I wanted to open it up to any questions, concerns, thoughts, folks. Do you have any brand experiences that you've had in the last month that you'd like to share with the group? Please feel free to raise a hand, and I'm happy to have folks share their experience with the brands, any questions they have about what we've shared today. Don't worry, if you've got something, go ahead and shout it out. Don't be shy.
Just wanted to verify on the brand, just using the logo by itself without CSUB when you are constrained with the size of your space.
Right. And that's, I think, if you're talking about the vertical usage of the brand, yes, there are official brands and you'll find them in the logos. If you don't find what you need, again, reach out to us at brand@csub.edu. But there are vertical things using only the CSUB letters that are appropriate for constrained spaces like that. And we have those same brand logos that we can connect to specific divisions or schools or programs on campus that'll have their own unique addition to that logo to individualize them.
Okay, yeah, the new paper cut that's being rolled out, if you notice, if you've got it on your desktop, we had to fit just the logo itself, yeah, without the CSUB because it was so tight to be able to fit anything. The CSUB was very tiny.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're just using the shield in that instance.
The shield, yes.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical across other IT platforms and applications. If it's really small, you'll see it, for instance, on the Duo application and some other spots where, you know, the text just becomes unreadable, and that's absolutely appropriate because it's already on campus. People know, you know, by having a PC that's imaged CSUB, you know where you are. So instances like that, yes, the shield is absolutely appropriate. And we've got a couple more questions here, James, in the chat. Nick Stringer asks, what sort of branding should we use when creating campus forms? I would say the black and white version of the logos are probably okay in campus forms, but I would say because they're CSUB forms, you can use either the CSUB versions of the mark, so the stacked or the primary, or you can use the full spelled out version, primary and stacked of the mark, just depending on how much space you have in that particular form. And we're happy to look at those forms. We've worked with HR to properly brand hundreds of forms. So if you have one in particular, Nick, just send it to James or I, and we'd be happy to help. And Travis says, just want to say thank you for the quick response and viewing the org brand. Great service. Thank you, Travis. We check that multiple times daily. So if you guys ever want to get a hold of us and we're not responding, either James or I, we always check that brand at csub.edu box.
And Nick, you had another a good question there.
Correct.
Not use the official seal, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, the official seal is really only to be used on official documents. So if it's a legally binding document, you know, diplomas, presidential communications, it's used pretty sparingly.
Definitely. And what I did like, did want to point out at, you know, when we do use just the shield to represent CSUB brand, that's an example of why branding works. Everybody recognizes the shield, and because they recognize the shield, we don't have to necessarily have CSUB written underneath it. We prefer to have it there, but we don't necessarily, because the strong brand image communicates what we're trying to connect to. So it's why the consistency and use of that shield is so important in the brand. Great questions. Anyone else?
It looks like Bree Parks has not received her backpack. So, and Giselle, yeah, Giselle, a couple of you folks. So reach out to us separately. We'd be happy to set up a time where you can come by a UA and pick yours up.
And I'm going to grab the chat as well, and hopefully we'll reach out to you if we don't hear from you.
Martha's got her hand raised. Hi, Martha.
Hi, Martha.
Hi, guys. Thank you for the presentation. It's really nice. What about, we print posters for students, graduate students that go on conferences with faculty, and they use the seal. Is that okay? I mean, that's okay, right? Because it's academic?
We would prefer the regular logo, not the seal.
Okay, because yeah, we got in trouble sometimes because they would pick one up from somewhere and it was not perfect, and at the poster competition sometimes. The president, not this president we have now, but the one before, would say something about it. And that's always stuck in my head because we print posters here. Okay, all right, I'll let them know.
Yeah, and you can have those sent over to us really quickly. We'll take a look at them, and if there's any error, we can provide the proper logo for you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. I really appreciate your time. We'll get back to you on those backpacks. And again, as you go through your weeks, if you have any other questions like these, we'll be happy to answer them for you. And we'll catch you next time for the next brand ambassadors meeting next month.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
We don't see you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Hope you have a fantastic rest of this month.